logical way in a manner that encourages your people to listen and to think. He was thinking because before he got on the platform, he said he'll think about it. So we thank you, Ray. We thank you, brother, for your hard work because everyone's busy. You have sector jobs, you have families to take care of, and Jehovah bless your efforts. So we can really thank you. Now we have Sister Tish, and tonight she's assisted by Sister Carlita Hart. The information is drawn from the What Does the Bible Really Teach book. And let's listen in.
So Tish, before we get started, I do want you to know that I did go over the lesson, but 1914, a prophecy, a significant prophecy in Bible times, that was just a little bit too much information for me. I'm gonna clean over my head.
No worries, Cece. That topic can be very difficult to comprehend. But what we're going to do, we're going to go over the information in paragraphs 1 and 2. We're going to break it down. We're going to go step by step and lay the groundwork that's going to help us to arrive at our conclusion. So with that in mind, we're going to go right into information found in paragraph 1 by the reading of Luke 21:24, and I would like you to read it.
Okay. And it says, and they will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive in all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled on by the nations until the appointed times of the nations are fulfilled.
Okay, so the setting for our discussion is in the city of Jerusalem.
Okay.
What can you tell me about Jerusalem?
Well, Jerusalem is the city, is the capital in the city, is the capital of Judah, much like Baton Rouge is the capital of Louisiana.
All right, great analogy. What about its rulers?
Well, the rulers, that would be the lineage of kings, and they were very different from the rulers of the nations at that time.
So, how different?
Well, since Jerusalem was a symbol of Jehovah's rulership, then all of the kings that occupied the throne at that time, they were representatives of Jehovah.
Okay, so what proof do we have of that? How do we know that those kings actually represented Jehovah? How do we know?
That would be in the Bible, right?
Yes, it's actually one of your cited scriptures in the first paragraph, 1 Chronicles 29:23, and I would like you to read that one also.
Okay, and it says, and Solomon sat on Jehovah's throne as king in place of David, his father, and he was successful, and all the Israelites were obedient to him.
Okay, so the scripture says that Solomon sat on whose throne?
On Jehovah's throne.
On Jehovah's throne. So now we've established that. So now what we're going to do, let's go back to Luke 21:24, because there's an important development mentioned there. It says that Jerusalem will be what?
Trampled on by the nations.
Okay, so now we need to discover how and when did Jerusalem, Jehovah's rulership, begin to be trampled on by the nations. So now let's start doing some more discovery in paragraphs 2. We're going to start with the reading of 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 8 through 10. And I'll read that. So I'm going to paraphrase verse 8. It says that, Nebuchadnezzar, he was the king of Babylon at that time. But look what he did in verses 9 and 10. He burned down the house of Jehovah, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem. He also burned down the house of every prominent man, and the walls surrounding Jerusalem were pulled down by the entire Chaldean army that was with the chief of the guard. So from the reading of that, how did Jehovah's rulership begin to be trampled on? What happened to Jerusalem?
This is when the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem, and they burned it down.
They burned it down. So when did that happen?
In 607 BCE.
Okay, I want you to commit 607 BCE to memory, because that date is the starting point of our exercise to understand or answer why 1914 is a significant year in Bible prophecy. Okay, so now we know Jerusalem was conquered, so who was the king?
No one was the king, because the line of kings was interrupted by the destruction of Jerusalem.
All right, so would that throne remain vacant?
No, because the prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 21 says that the crown of the throne will be, I think will belong to the person that has a legal right to
All right, the one who has legal right or authority. So I wonder who would that be? Who would have legal right to the vacated throne? Do you remember what Luke 1:32 and 33 said?
I think it mentioned that he would be called the son the Most High. Oh, that would be Jesus.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so then I have a question.
All right.
So the paragraph says that the trampling will end when Jesus became king. So when will that happen?
All right, so now that's where we're going to start next week. But this was what I did because I know that you are a visual learner, and so am I. So what I did, I took the liberty of putting together a sequence of events or developments that we discussed today to help you, to give you a vivid picture of where we started and where we're going to start next week, okay? So our setting, the city of Jerusalem, symbol of Jehovah's rulership. The kings that occupied the throne were representatives of Jehovah. Jehovah's rulership was trampled on in 607 BCE by the Babylonians. And no king would occupy the throne after Jerusalem's destruction until the one who has legal right comes, and we know that to be Jesus. Now we're going to discover or explore, when did Jesus occupy the throne as king?
Okay. I'm looking forward to next week. This is exciting.
Okay, good. You did great today. So this is where we're going to pick up, and we're going to go further. So we can understand exactly why 1914 is a significant year in Bible prophecy.
Okay, great. I look forward to next week.
Okay.
I want to touch.